It's that time again. You know what time it is, Kyle?
Is it colonial time?
It is, in fact, colonial
This
time.
is the biggest colonial time of all time.
The biggest colonial time of all time in the history of football and mankind.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening right now. It's our last colonial time of the year, more than likely. I'm pretty sure, definitely going to be the last football colonial time of the year. But hey, a little cross-vertical promotion here. There will be a basketball version of colonial time coming from now through...
Wait, what?
Yep, through
Nice.
not through the end of March, into March.
Okay.
Into the madness of March,
Yeah.
you could even say. So look for that on FloHoops.tv or .com. I don't know which one it is.
I think it's .com.
I just manage it. It's not that big of a deal.
.com.
.com?
.com.
Confirmed. FloHoops.com. Colonial Time will be there now. But this is a FloFootball show. This is bootleg. This is football. And we're talking football. But for the first part of the show, I want to acknowledge that it is a sneaky big week and like a legit big week for the CAA. It's a legit big week for all the reasons that we already know. JMU playing for a national title.
Correct.
It is a sneaky big week because Tom Flacco and others from the CAA are playing in all-star games across the world, mostly in the United States, perhaps all in the United States, but not important. Is Florida technically part of the United States?
No, definitely not.
Okay, so across the globe,
Yeah.
CAA football players will be competing in all-star games, and our man, Tom Flacco,
Yes,
carefully selected the Tropical Bowl in DeLand, Florida, because it will be live on FloFootball. And Tom loves Flo so much that he hand-selected that event. And you know what? We had the opportunity to talk to him about it a little bit, as well as the way the year ended with Towson. And he even provided a little look ahead into the JMU North Dakota State matchup through the quarterback lens, what you can expect from that JMU defense. So at this point, I'm going to stop talking, and Tom's going to start talking. So what's been going on? What'd y'all do for the holidays?
I just spent time with the family, my family and my girlfriend's family. So it was awesome seeing my grandparents and everything.
Yeah. Nice, man.
Yeah. How about you? Same old stuff, seeing family?
Yeah, same deal. We, my wife and I alternate years with the family. So I had, a year ago we went to my parents. This year we hosted my in-laws. So,
Cool.
Just in case they were to watch this, I just want them to know that it was wonderful and I enjoyed every moment of it.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, look, man, I don't want to make this longer than it necessarily needs to be. I know you got a lot going on right now, but I wanted to touch base with you. Obviously, after we got to go out there and meet you guys and do what we did while y'all were in training camp. You got fans out of all of us. Our entire team at Flo. We pull for you guys all year long. Love to get to know you and Shane and Coach and everybody else. And obviously none of us like the way that it ended, but you and I haven't talked about it yet. So, how would you characterize the season? Injuries, obviously, to some really key guys kind of turned things a bit, but take me inside a little bit and just tell me what you took from, I guess, not just this year, but your 2 years at Towson, as a whole, once you're able to step back and kind of look at it after the fact.
Well, it was an abrupt end. It was an unfortunate end. It was definitely disappointing for everyone at Towson. So, I mean, I explained, you said it, there's definitely injuries that plagued our team, but that really wasn't it. Our team did a good job. Guys stepped in and they stepped up and they played well, but we kind of just, I think against that Elon game, maybe our guys were a little bit, we jumped out to a 14-0 lead, I think that kind of, we got content. And Elon, they're not a bad team. They have a great quarterback and they stuck around and they ended up beating us at the end. So it was a tough loss, and like I said, it was an abrupt finish. But I liked how our guys persevered. I mean, we were tested throughout the whole season. We had a run there at the end, just didn't finish the way we wanted to. And my 2 years at Towson were great. I mean, I had two different offensive coordinators, in Jared and Rob, who's the head coach, Rob, and they're both great guys. I was able to pick their brains, and Coach Van Zyl, pick things from him, and something that I did my whole college career. I was my sixth offensive coordinator and my sixth or seventh quarterback coach. So I was able to pick up people, a lot of brains, and take things from everyone. And it was another great learning lesson for me. But as a college player, my player development was great. And I think that's something that's going to be an advantage going forward.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Clearly, your team flow for life, man. I mean, as made evident by your decision to play in the Tropical Bowl, you played every one of your senior year, every one of your games on Flow, and then you just couldn't move forward with your football career without playing one more game on FloFootball, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I saw you guys were hosting the game. I'm like, that makes sense. All my family already has your subscription. They'll be fine.
There you go. There you go. Shocking as this is, no one ever asked me to play in a college all-star event. So tell me, what was the process of choosing the Tropical Bowl? In all seriousness, how did the entire process play out for you to ultimately decide to head to Daytona Beach?
I had known about the Tropical Bowl through Devlin Hodges was there last year, and he's a 1AA guy who I was following last year, wondering what he was doing, what his track was. So it was on my radar because of him, because he's a 1AA, simply because he's a 1AA guy who's not only been playing in the league, he got a chance to play, not just be on a team. So I knew about it then, and then as I was trying to find an agent, he mentioned the Tropical Bowl, and I was like, oh, that'd be awesome, if I can get into that. And that's what happened. He told me about 2 weeks ago. I think he confirmed it, or a week ago, not too long ago. He confirmed that I was in it, and I was excited.
Yeah, you mentioned Duck. Obviously, he played in the event last year. The year before that, I think it was Danny Etling and Montel Cozart. I mean, there's been some guys that have used the Tropical Bowl as a kind of a launching pad into an NFL career. Obviously, varying in terms of playing time, but Duck obviously getting a lot of time with Pittsburgh this year. What are some of the biggest things that you want to demonstrate for the scouts that are in attendance, over the course of the next few days, that you're able to bring to the table for them as a football player and a quarterback?
I kind of just want to show scouts and NFL teams that I can operate an NFL offense. I think that watching the film, you're going to be able to you see me sitting in the pocket and throwing. But I think sometimes when you're labeled as an athletic person or an athlete or a guy who can run, they don't really see you running the offense. They see you as someone who's going to kind of make plays when things are broken down. And I think that's time to do that. I think it's go out there. It's different than seeing it on film. You can see someone in person. You can see the ball come out of his hand. And you're like, okay, this guy can sling it,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to getting down there and showing him how I can throw the ball and how I can basically just operate an NFL offense. It doesn't matter what scheme I'm in. I can do it. So I'm excited to do that.
Yeah, no question. I know probably for the entirety of your career, but I know, obviously at Towson being basically in Baltimore, we've talked about this before. People want to default to you're Joe's brother. Tell us what that's like or whatever. And, obviously I've always avoided doing that. But in this scenario, you obviously, aiming to play in the NFL where Joe has enjoyed a really nice career. My question is simply, are there things that you can take being someone who's watched a sibling in that environment on an NFL roster and what it means to be a pro? I think for a lot of rookies coming in, the adjustment from college to the NFL is a lot. It's abrupt, it's stark. But for you, having been exposed to that for the better part of a decade, I just wonder if through your lens, what you think that allows you to do in terms of the quicker adjustment to the pro game.
I think it'll be a quick adjustment. I really do. I mean, I've been around an NFL-type quarterback, and not an NFL type, an NFL quarterback pretty much for the last 13 years, and that was when I was little. So I grew up just really watching an NFL-type, games and breaking down things with my family that was NFL. So I think that I was throwing an NFL ball when I was 13, 14, better than I was throwing those high school balls they throw around. So I think that's just something that being around an NFL family like that, it's going to be a great advantage. I know the ins and outs a little bit, not that I know them, but I'm familiar with them a little bit. And like I said, it's just that I've been around that quality type of mentality my whole life, and those are my expectations my whole life. So I think that's something that will prove to be an advantage, but hopefully I get the opportunity to prove that to teams.
Definitely. One of the things that people love to do so much with a, college guy headed to the NFL is find the comp. Who looks like you, who plays like you, who throws like you, who runs like you. What can we do to give ourselves an idea of what you're going to be? And in some ways, I hate the comp because you're never gonna line that up perfectly. And everybody who's, at that 6 foot mark has been Drew Brees now for 15 years. But, what I would say is, and listen, you're not a short dude at all, 6'1", but even just 4 or 5 years ago, being 6'1" could have been a bit of an impediment just because everybody's looking for that prototypical 6'4", 6'5" guy. But now, like I said with Breeze, but then, Russell Wilson comes in, Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray go back-to-back at number one. And Kyler, not even definitely not even close to being 6'1", not even close to your height. What's your take on the height bias in general, and how how that affects you? I guess is what I'm getting at.
Hey, I'm not tall, but I'm tall enough, and I think that's been proven. But also, this is the best time to be a guy who's 6'1". I mean, this is definitely the best environment. Like you said, 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, when I was coming out of high school, people were, Johnny Manziel was one of the guys coming, but even he got picked in the first round, but he didn't pan out. But it just, I don't think there's such a thing anymore. We're playing in a shotgun type NFL. Everyone's in the shotgun. They're taking 3-step, 5 steps from the gun. They're not taking those 7-step drops from under center. And it's not that they're not doing it; they're just doing it less. So I mean, I've watched film on Russell Wilson. I've seen what he does and how he plays, and he's a great player. And I've watched film on Drew Brees because we have those things that is at our advantage as college athletes. You can watch them play. And it's just cool seeing what they do, what their offenses do. And I think that the height thing is pretty much gone. I really do. Because if you look at the last two number one draft picks, they're smaller guys who can kind of have similar attributes, and you have to be able to run. You have to be able to run a little bit now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I do look. Like I said, I hate the comps, but you can draw some lines of comparison between you and a guy like Baker, or even you and a guy like Kyler. On some of the stuff, the way that you play, some of the different things that a team can do with you. Something I thought of earlier today when before we did this, I wonder your perspective on this. Let's say that, an NFL team looks at you and they look at your skill set and your athleticism, and obviously you're a two-sport guy, and, can't say enough about what you're able to do aside from throwing a football. Say a team comes to you and they say, we want you to be our Taysom Hill. We want you to be a guy who, you're going to play some quarterback, but we're also going to put you in the backfield at running back. We're also going to split you out wide and, throw you the ball every once. What's your special teams? Whatever. Somebody comes to you with that perspective on, I know every quarterback is different, and some guys are, Tim Tebow as an example, I'm a quarterback. What's your perspective on that?
I'm not. I'm open to that. I really am. I mean, whatever can get me on the field and get me into the league, I'm open to do that. If they want me to be someone kind of like Taysom Hill, he does everything. I mean, I'll do that. No problem. I'll do whatever they ask me to do. I think the long term of playing in the NFL, long term, I see myself as a quarterback, just because those guys can last longer, quarterbacks. But if that gets me into the door, man, I'm open to anything. Really, I really am. So I'm going to go through this process as a quarterback because that's honestly what impacts the team the most, a quarterback. And that was something completely different in college. In college, I did not want to do that. I want to be a quarterback. But in the NFL, if that gets me into it, then that's what I'll be willing to do. Yeah, without doubt.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, look at a guy like Taysom too. I mean, yeah, he's doing a lot right now, but who's to say that when Drew's done, Taysom doesn't take over with the Saints? I don't know that anybody can know that. All I do know is that when he's on the field, he's making plays.
And I bet he sees himself as a quarterback at long term. Right now, I think he's doing awesome. I mean, here's the reason why they scored most of their points. But I'm sure, I never talked to Taysom Hill, but I mean, I'm sure he's looking forward to getting a chance to play quarterback at some point.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. The quarterback thing is kind of a DNA thing. It's like not even a position; it's literally who you guys are. So I can see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we have you in the Tropical Bowl this weekend. Some other games of note are happening this weekend. FBS title game on Monday. FCS title game on Saturday as college football winds down, comes to an end. I want to ask you about the FCS title game simply because JMU better than most. That defense obviously very highly touted. There's a lot of dudes that have NFL potential, a lot of hype surrounding that defense in general. I don't want you to give away a scouting report to North Dakota State because we're pro CAA at Flo, but I would just ask you to give me your perspective from the mind of a quarterback when you're looking at JMU. What do you do with that defense? How do you attack that?
Man, their defense is good, and what you have to do, that defensive line, they'll get after you, so you can't be holding the ball long. You have to get rid of it. I think that's something that North Dakota State. I've watched film with them a little bit because like Delaware played them maybe the last couple of years, and their offensive line is really good. And but that's what I'm going to be watching on Saturday. I'm going to be watching that matchup between offensive line and the defensive line of JMU because they got after us and they got after everybody in the CAA. So they have to get rid of the ball, and I would say just don't get behind on those guys. You have to keep a lead because if you get behind, that defense will be you'll start doing things that's uncharacteristic of your offense. So you need to be able to stick with everything and be balanced.
Yeah, in a perfect world, not falling behind against that team is a little easier said than done, but.
No, I know it's easy to say, but I mean, like I said, it'll be interesting to see the matchup of their defensive line versus North Dakota State's, who's a very physical offensive line, and their tight ends are big guys. That's a great matchup.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think that'll be cool. I'm also looking forward to watching you play in the Tropical Bowl, though, man. I mean, you're one of my favorite guys to cover. You're one of my favorite quarterbacks in the country, regardless, FBS, FCS, NFL, I don't care. I think the sky's the limit for you. I think you have a great future at the next level, and I can't wait to watch and see how it all plays out.
Yeah, man, I appreciate everything. You guys were following me around all year, and I love you guys.
Now we sound like stalkers.
Yeah, no, here's my little nephew. You want to get him on the clip?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hop in. Let's spread the wealth all across the Flacco family. I love it.
He's hearing me talk to someone. He's like, "Who's this?"
All right, Tom. Well, hey man, best of luck at the Tropical Bowl, and let's stay in touch. I look forward to talking to you down the road.
Once again, thank you to Tom Flacco. I said he's one of my favorite guys to watch in college football, and I meant that. He's electric, and he entertained us on multiple occasions this season. In the inaugural year of Colonial Athletic Association football on Flo. One of the things that he pointed out that I thought was, if nothing else, just at least a little bit interesting was the fact that he said, and I obviously now we can transition into the JMU North Dakota State discussion if you want to, but he said that when you're playing JMU, the key is to get a lead on them or prevent them from getting a lead on you early, because once James Madison gets up, especially if they get up by 9 or more, it kind of at that point that it's forcing you to throw the football around. With Towson led early, but then JMU started to come back, got up, extended that lead, and once they did, they knew Tom was going to be throwing the ball every down, and Rondell Carter, John Daka pin their ears back, get after the quarterback. So I thought it was interesting that he pointed that out, having been in that situation himself, as a way that North Dakota State could avoid the terror that is that JMU defensive line. The Dukes opened as a 1.5-point favorite. First time since 2016 that North Dakota State is catching points in a game. Dang.
Would you like to know who they were playing in 2016 when they were underdogs?
Was it an FBS team?
It was.
Was it Iowa?
It was. Number 13, Iowa. Do you know how that game ended?
They won.
North Dakota State upset Iowa at Iowa. So they're not going to be worried about the fact that they opened as underdogs. You pointed out a moment ago that it's actually a pick'em now.
It's a pick'em now on one offshore site.
Okay. One offshore
free
site.
ads.
Is that like secret? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no free ads.
Look, North Dakota State wants to run the football. That's not really a secret.
Nope.
Trey Lance he's a bad man, and that running game has been really good all year. But I would also just point out that they're typically in a position to run the football. They typically have a lead. They have not had to play from behind.
Yep.
So I think it's a situation where if JMU can hit them in the mouth early, and look, obviously it's a bit of a delicate balance because you don't want to be overly aggressive and play out of character and do things that you haven't done all season long just because you're dying to get a lead early.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if JMU can come out hot, that will put a lot of pressure on North Dakota State.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at what JMU does on offense, as well as they run the ball. Now, we were just talking before the show, they have 6 guys that have run for over 200 yards this year, including quarterback Ben DiNucci. But they also throw it really well. They have a 1,000-yard receiver in Brandon Polk. Riley Stapleton has like another 700 yards. So they can spread you out with this power run game. And then DiNucci can beat you with his feet too. Mm-hmm. So it's good. It is their toughest test. Probably, I don't know. Is North Dakota State better than West Virginia? I don't know. But since week 1, this is the biggest test they've faced on either side of the ball. And a couple of things that I found really interesting is JMU's only given up 100 yards rushing one time this year, and it was to Stony Brook. And then they also, JMU, 9 times this year had 9 or more tackles for loss. That is insane.
Yep.
That is insane. So if that defensive line and
those linebackers can live in the backfield and force North Dakota State into passing downs, then that is where they can really win this game. Because we saw it in the Illinois State game when Illinois State forced NDSU to throw the ball more. They really struggled. They couldn't find the end zone. And then for NDSU, they've only turned the ball over 6 times this year.
I know. You're stealing all my great points, by the way.
I'm sorry. I did not know any. This is why we should compare notes for us, Jeff. But only two of them were in week 1. They're week 1 blowout of Butler. That's insane.
I know it.
So, and that just means JMU has to be even more careful with the ball because you do not want to give them any extra possessions or set them up in great field position.
Agreed. And, JMU they've been good with turnovers, too.
Oh,
6 is crazy. JMU,
insane.
15 turnovers is really good.
That's very low, too, yeah.
A couple of points that I want to make, just piggybacking kind of on what you already said. I think, first of all, I think that the West Virginia North Dakota State comp is pretty legit. I think that those two teams are probably pretty close in talent level and coaching. And that JMU team that lost to West Virginia is not the same JMU team that is going to Frisco right now. They have improved week to week throughout the season, which is an absolute testament to Cignetti and that staff and what they've done. He made the point that coming out of spring football, everybody was anointing James Madison, as number 2 right behind NDSU in the rankings, and he didn't see his team that way coming out of the spring. But after fall camp, there was more confidence. After week 1, there was more confidence. And from week to week, they have grown exponentially as a team. You mentioned the need to get into the backfield. It's not impossible to get into that North Dakota State backfield. I mean, you mentioned Illinois State. Missouri State was able to make some plays behind the line of scrimmage as well, and neither one of those teams has got a front like what James Madison has.
Sure.
So I think that there's definitely a path to disrupting that North Dakota State offense, given how talented James Madison is on defense. And the last thing I do wanted to point out, I think we need to give Ben DiNucci proper credit, because there was a lot of conversation last year that was critical of him, his propensity to turn the football over. We've made jokes about, random picks in the end zone or whatever it is. It's a guy that has done a complete 180 year over year, completing 71% of his throws, almost 3,300 yards, 27 touchdowns, and he's only thrown the 5 picks.
Right.
So I think that there's a tendency to look at what DiNucci was a year ago and just associate that with his performance from this year. But there's a reason he's a CAA Offensive Player of the Year, and there's a reason that his team is in Frisco, and it's not just the defense. It's not just the running game. It's his ability to keep them balanced on offense and keep defenses honest. So I do want to shout out the year that he's had.
Absolutely.
And I think he'll obviously, it goes without saying, but he will play a pivotal role in determining the outcome of that game on Saturday. Do you have a prediction?
I do. I think JMU, with all the weapons they have, I think JMU's skill players are better than North Dakota State's. The four-headed monster at running back, and then Polk and Stapleton at wide receiver. And I like them to find the end zone a couple times. I have 17-10 JMU.
Nice. We mostly agree on that. Clearly, it's colonial time. It's not Valley time. But we probably didn't give North Dakota State's defense enough time and credit here, but they're also very, very good. And I think it's going to be a low-scoring slugfest, much like you described. Honestly, man, I think the first team to 14 can win.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
If I got to make a pick, I'm going to say Duke's 13-10, 14-13, something like that. I think it's going to be a classic. I think it's going to go down to the wire. And ultimately, I think it's going to be that JMU defense on the field at the end with the season on them. It's going to be their job to win it. And I'm looking forward to seeing it, man. It's going to be awesome.
I don't think they'd want it any other way.
Nah, that's exactly how you want it.
Spend some time in Harrisonburg and with a bunch of those defensive players. They like that. That's what they want.
Yep, that's their demeanor, their personality, their swagger. I mean, it's very apparent when you're around them, and I think that they're going to bring it. So it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. We've enjoyed watching JMU and really the entire league all season long. And this is a really good capper for us in year one for a team from this league to be in Frisco with the opportunity to, disrupt the dynasty that everybody's been watching up in Fargo. They've already disrupted it once.
Right.
So.
They've been the only team to break in, and they did it in the Fargo Dome. when they won in 2016. So.
Yep. Okay, last thing I do want to touch on, he's kind of skimmed over it. Tom Smith from New Hampshire. There's some other guys from the CAA that are playing in the Tropical Bowl. I'm singling the Tropical Bowl out because I'm selfish and it's on Flo, and I think people should watch it. That's my opinion. What's yours?
No, I totally agree. Really impressed with the talent that's there this year, especially at quarterback. Tom Flacco, Justin McMillan, Alec Hornibrook, Wisconsin and Florida State guy. Even all the way down to a guy like Quentin Maxwell from IUP, who was originally at Ohio.
Yep.
And then Nathan O'Rourke is setting all kinds of records there. So he transferred to IUP and then had an awesome year with over 40 touchdowns. So it's a really impressive group that will be there, and it's a great test for Tom going up against a bunch of FBS guys.
Yeah, for sure.
I know he's played against FBS teams before. He went down to the Swamp this year, and if you watched the HBO college football, kind of like the season, or the Hard Knocks version, the week they spent with Florida was when they played Towson.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and they were talking about Flacco, and then they have all kinds of game highlights, and Dan Mullen was heated at halftime.
Oh.
Because they were just going up and down the field on him.
Yeah.
They missed a field goal, and they had a couple kind of fluky turnovers. There was like a fumbled snap and stuff, but they were in Florida territory, and Mullen was not too happy.
Well, hey, look, man, Tom is Towson in general. I mean, Towson was a team that coming into the year we thought would contend with JMU for the CAA title, and not just the CAA, but a national title. They looked that good. When you lose a guy like Shane Simpson, obviously it completely changes the trajectory of your season, and it wasn't just Shane. I mean, they had a rash of injuries that changed things for them. But Towson was no fluke. Tom Flacco was no fluke.
No,
I mean, that kid is super talented. I think that I think it's safe to say he has an NFL future of some kind. What that looks like exactly is yet to be determined. The Tropical Bowl is an excellent opportunity and stage for a lot of these guys. Tom mentioned Duck Hodges as being a guy that he looked at and saw another FCS guy that had gone and played in that event, kind of put his name on the map. Danny Etling, obviously an LSU, not FCS guy, but he did the same thing the year before that, ends up with the Patriots. I think there's definitely an avenue for a player like Flacco to find his way to the NFL. His exposure to the NFL to this point can't hurt. I mean, he knows how to be a professional. He's seen it done. And, lastly, I would just say I think that, I hit him half jokingly, but he responded pretty earnestly about his willingness to play the type of role that Taysom Hill plays. And I think just given his overall athleticism and his football IQ, I mean, there's also the possibility of a situation like that with an NFL team. So, while he's competing at this event as a quarterback, his athleticism has been on display more than one.
Well, that's a great point you bring up, because I was going to mention, kind of the way the NFL is trending now. He has a better opportunity than in years past, because he's not like Tom, or he's not like Joe. He can beat you with his legs. He's a very good runner.
Yep.
So guys like Josh Allen, and then obviously he's not Lamar Jackson, but you get my point.
You are.
Yeah. You get my point, though. The Deshaun Watsons, the guys that can run as well, add in that extra element that the defense has to worry about at all times. And then Taysom Hill's a great point. And if you want to talk about Mike McCarthy, he cut Taysom Hill. So,
ouch. Okay, well, there's that.
Sorry, I'm still bitter about that.
Understand. Maybe McCarthy will draft Flacco to Dallas and right the wrong. The 2020 Tropical Bowl, again, can be viewed live on FloFootball and the Flo Sports app on Sunday. So watch JMU win a national title on Saturday. Watch Tom Flacco dominate the Tropical Bowl on Sunday.